Hey everyone, welcome to this session of Decode 2024. There's been so much good content so far for this event. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned stuff. And if there's been sessions that you've missed but you want to go back and watch it another time, make sure you keep an eye out for recordings as they are released. But my name is Rob Stinson. I am one of the product marketers here at WP Engine. And I get to actually work really closely with the teams responsible for our sort of builder and our developer tools. So the plugins, themes, apps, and platform features that we build to sort of enable not just WP Engine customers, but even the broader WordPress ecosystem to build incredible things with WordPress. We could just show you some slides or some documentation pages, or look at a landing page or two, but that's boring, especially when you've got some stuff as good as what we have here. And so we're going to take everything through the lens of a particular website and show you through this site how we went about building it from, like I said, from very beginning, add new site, all the way through to post deployment and sort of like optimization of the site and everything in between. So this site that we've built is for the internationally recognized, the highly respected Ivy League educational institution called the Steve Irwin Center, and I got to read this, otherwise I'm going to get it wrong. The Steve Irwin Center for kids who can't wrestle Crocs good and want to learn to do other stuff good too. So, I don't know. So jokes aside, so myself, Austin, and some others looked at sort of everything that we had and said, all right, there's, we can build some incredible things with these tools. What kind of site would really showcase this? And if you've ever built sort of like a school site or a university or a college website, there's a lot going on with those kinds of sites. There's often, hundreds and hundreds of posts or pages worth of content, often interesting custom post types and fields, and often third-party integrations. They need to facilitate accounts and sending of emails. Lots and lots of media is used, but there is typically, a heck of a lot of stuff going on with these websites. So that's what we've got here. Let's have a little look at the site. So let's have a look. This is the site right here. We've got this hero section about, the college or the center. We've got some calls to action there. We've got some tiles here that you can click on to go learn more about things around the learning experience or life on campus. We've got some stuff about the academic programs. We've got some tiles here for different courses that you can hover over and get some more information from. Careers information, testimonial stuff. We've got a call to action, and we've got a newsletter subscription thing going on here. So this is all just a single page, but yeah, it looks good. There's some interesting design going on. There's some interesting interaction. There's some third-party integration things. There's some little hints at maybe some custom post types. Anyway, like I said, there's a lot going on. But first of all, before you can build a site, you got to have somewhere to build it. And Austin, mate, I think that is something that you can help us out with. So over to you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Rob. Hello, everyone. My name is Austin Wendt. I'm a product manager at WP Engine and have the immense joy of getting to work as the product manager on the local product team. So I know just the place for us to make building this site super seamless, and that is going to be Local. So if you're not familiar, Local is a free desktop app provided by WP Engine that makes building WordPress sites extremely easy. It doesn't matter where you host. Local is open for everyone and has been free and a crowd favorite in the WordPress space for a long time. So Local is a great, safe place to test out new ideas, learn new things, test out new technology. Honestly, it doesn't even matter if you plan on hosting the site at all. If you just have an idea that you want to play around with on your machine and you can throw it away later, Local is a great place to do that. But as Rob said, our goal is to share this crocodile wrestling college with the world. So that will be our end goal today. If you haven't already downloaded Local on your machine, you can do so for free by visiting localwp.com. You'll see our nice landing page here. You can read more about the features, but what you're interested in here is this download link. And all you have to do is simply tell us the operating system that you're going to be working on, and you'll be off to the races. Local is a desktop app, so we just need to know which version of the software to give you. I've already downloaded Local. I'm using it on a Mac today, so that's what you'll see. But I will jump over to Local now to show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, I have opened the Local app and I am ready to get started. I will call out that you might notice up here at the top, my app says Local Beta. And that's just because technically I am on a beta build of local that is not yet released. And that's just because that I want to give everyone here at Decode a sneak peek into some up and coming releases coming very soon for the local product. So more on that later. Stay tuned. But yeah, back to the site. So I have some other sites in here. I work in local pretty much every day. So I went ahead and created a site group though for Decode 2024. So I can group my projects there. And for this instance, I will just spin up a brand new site with our plus button here in the bottom right corner. So I'll go ahead and create a new site. We can name it the Croc Wrestling College and hit continue. Local's going to ask me to set up my environment. I can choose which version of PHP I want, my web server, whether it's Nginx or Apache, a version of MySQL. Preferred is fine for me right now. I can always change those values later. So preferred is great. I will set up my WordPress username and password. And then I am ready to go. So I hit add site. So local has finished. I'll go ahead and open the site. And you can see here's the default 2024 WordPress theme running on my machine. So crocwrestlingcollege.local, which is great. So to get building, I suppose the first thing we can do is launch a WP admin. So I'll come back to local here. There's a WP admin button. One thing I always like to show users and recommend they try is this one-click admin feature, which is super nice. So I can turn this on. And essentially what this does is it'll allow me to pick any admins that are configured on my site and just makes it so that I don't have to enter my username and password every time, which is great. So turn that on and click WP admin, and you'll notice I launch right into my dashboard here. So one of the first things that we need to do when we're building a site is pick a theme that we are going to build on top of. So I can go to appearance here in my sidebar, go to themes. And as we talked about, like I'm already just using the default 2024 WordPress theme is what's active right now. In WordPress, there's obviously plenty of options to choose from when it comes to a theme. Honestly, sometimes too many options. But a personal favorite of mine, the one we're going to use today, is we're going to go with Frost. So Frost is a theme developed by Brian Gardner. It's at WP Engine. Many of you probably know him. Brian is amazing in the WordPress community, and his themes are even better. So I will go ahead and search, add theme here, search for Frost, and you can check the theme out here. I'll just go ahead and install it and activate it. And you can see that we are ready to go. So if I go back to my Croc Wrestling College and I update, you can see now this is again all running on my laptop. The new theme has been applied, and this is my blank slate for me to work from. Great. So we've got our theme installed. Next, we are ready to jump into the editor, and our task becomes turning this into the beautiful Steve Irwin College. I won't even try. I'm going to leave that to you, Rob. But anyways, if you're not familiar with Frost, Frost is a wonderful theme to explore and build with. So I want to highlight a few pieces in here. So jumping into the editor, you can see that Frost comes pre-configured with a lot of these great patterns that we can play with. So I can plug and play with a lot of existing calls to actions. If I go to patterns, a lot of existing calls to actions. There's some footers, change my footer style, even entire pages that I can try out. So plenty of options for me to choose from or to just extend from if I need to. Second is how easy it is for me to work with and just make quick global changes across the site. So for example, the first step we would probably take is just a basic color update to match the green that you saw Rob using before. So I'll go back to my editor here. I'll go to styles. I can get in and truly modify any of these pre-configured options if I want to. I'll just start with the green. And you can see my buttons have changed color, some of the text updates, and hit save. And then we're off to the races. I'm ready to get building. So plenty more to explore here. I encourage you to check it out and familiarize yourself with it a little bit, but we don't need to dive too deep now. I'm delivering on my clients' deadlines. By that, I mean Rob's deadlines. I'd better get to building. So Rob, I will kick it back over to you.
All right. Thanks for that, Austin. Fantastic. We've got the site running on local now. We have Frost installed and active, which gives us access to fantastic styling, as well as a whole bunch of really good block patterns that enable us to sort of spin up and create content really easily on our site as well. We've configured the color palette to be this green that you see, which is nice and easy. But we need to go a little bit deeper now with our content. And to do that, we are going to be using advanced custom fields. Now, if you use advanced custom fields or ACF, you know how incredibly powerful it is. And we are definitely leveraging some of that power on this site here. And the first thing I want to call out is custom post types with ACF. Now, this was a release that we ran last year, that we pushed out last year, that brings into ACF the ability to register custom post types and custom taxonomies. You can see over here on in the WordPress admin, I have courses and subjects. So these are a couple of custom post types that I've set up with ACF. So if we go to ACF post types, you can see them right there, courses and subjects. And for instance, we might want to add another one for our site for events. You know, colleges and universities often have events that they like to run for their students and staff and things like that. So we are going to add a new post type, events. Singular label will be event. Oops. Post type key is event. Taxonomies, we'll leave that for now. Public, yes. There's a whole bunch of advanced configuration options, but we're just going to keep it nice and simple. Save changes. Over here in the left-hand menu, we have events now. We can go on here. We can start to add new events, as simple as that. So nice and simple, easy way to spin up custom post types using ACF, which is lovely. All right, the next thing I want to showcase also with advanced custom fields is building custom blocks with advanced custom fields. Now, I actually ran a session earlier today at Decode with Liam Gladdy, who is the senior engineer on ACF. And we actually do a much deeper dive into these actual blocks as well, to show how they are built and what we do and the integrations and the configurations and everything. So if you want to go deeper on these, I encourage you to go catch that recording when it becomes available, because yeah, like I said, we go deeper there. But let's just have a little look. Particularly on our site, we have this big sort of hero block. Now you could do this fairly closely with just the blocks out of core, but just to showcase how it sort of works, I built this whole section, this whole hero section as a custom block. So back here in the WordPress admin, ACF, I see my field groups. I have this field group for big hero block, and you'll see that the fields that I have added to this field group correspond with the content, including the background image of our hero block. And when we are in the editor, let me just scroll up here, and we click on the hero block, you'll see that those fields match what we saw in our field group. And we can simply update them, and the content is reflected over on the front end. So the way that ACF makes that creation or custom block building experience so simple is, like we just saw a snippet there, like you're creating a field group like you normally would with ACF, and you add your fields. But then often in your plugin, or in our case, in our child theme, we register the custom block. And then we set up a couple of folders and files, which for our templates, our template file for that custom block, a configuration file, which is block.json, and sort of whatever CSS that we need. And sort of, if you templated before with ACF, sort of translate that into sort of custom blocks, because it really is that simple. So ACF makes it incredibly easy to build out custom blocks. Another one that I just wanted to showcase quickly, because it highlights a really nice little feature that custom blocks, that ACF blocks has, called inner blocks, is this other block that I created, custom block that I created, called the link block, or the link wrapper block. Now, the only field that I have here is a text field with the field name and label of link. Now, that's not particularly special, and you can see that down here under my location rules, I have assigned that to a link wrapper custom block. But I just want to jump over to my code editor just to show you the template file here, and to highlight this little inner blocks tag because it is kind of like a bit of sprinkled magic. And you can see that there's a little bit of conditional logic going on this template just based on where it is rendered, whether it's in the admin or whether it's rendered on the front end. But I output the link there from that field that I showed you. But then this little inner blocks thing means that inside of this anchor, this link, I can drop any other blocks that I want. Now, you can't actually do this natively in WordPress core. It's a common design pattern. And if you look at what I mean by that is, having a component that is in itself clickable to go do something is a common design pattern. For example, on our site, you can see these tiles that I've set up. They've got like a background image. There's this section at the bottom that you might be able to see has a bit of a dark to transparent gradient. And then there's the nested sort of paragraph tag. But this whole tile is clickable. Learning experience, life on campus, the course options things. And that's something that you often see on website, a tile that is clickable and takes you somewhere. If we go back to our editor here, you can see that if I click on this first one, and I'm just going to go to this view so you can see our structure here. We've got this columns, which is sort of like the whole section. Sorry, it's a little bit cramped here, so apologies for that. Column 1, which is blank. Column 2, then we've got my link wrapper custom block, where I've thrown in the link, over to wpengine.com. But typically you would probably link to somewhere else on the site, but that'll do for now. Then I have this group, which is where I select it, which is where I put my background image and I set up my padding to sort of push the content further down. Then I have another group, which gives me my sort of dark to transparent gradient, and then a paragraph tag for the text. And look, that's what it means is, I can put anything in there, but that just shows you how I was able to make those tiles. And just to show you a live one, link wrapper, and then inside it now, because of that inner blocks tag that I showed you, we could put whatever we want. We can just put an image, media library, and I know there's a crocodile that looks good. Then as long as we put a link up in here, oh my gosh, typos, live typing never works, right? And then we click update, jump over in the front end, refresh that, and we can see, there's that image. And if we click on it, it's going to take us off to the WP Engine website as I set up. So look, really simple block actually, and it's kind of like a little utility one that I'm probably going to use quite often with other websites that I build. But just to showcase one of the features of building custom blocks with ACF, that little inner blocks thing, which I love. Okay, so the final thing for advanced custom fields that I actually want to show you that we are leveraging on this website is a feature that we call options pages. And if you can see over on the site here, we have this little banner. I call it a pencil banner. There's probably other names in the industry for it. But it's this little thing that, you add some text to, and it's a bit of a call to action, and then there's a button, and it needs to be sort of site-wide. It's not just for a particular page. You need to be able to change the text and the calls to action, what that says and where it links to, based on perhaps a campaign that you're running for a period of time. And generally you need to be able to turn the thing on and off, because, depending on whether you have a campaign running at the time or not. And the idea though is that component is site-wide. It's not associated with a specific postal page, which is what you typically have when you're building out custom fields with ACF. And that is what options pages are for. They are about facilitating sort of site level or global level data. So let me show you how that is done. Options pages, by the way, are something that you've been able to do for some time within ACF. But just last year, we sort of brought more of that configuration and setup functionality into the UI itself. So over here within ACF, you can see options pages, and you can see the page that I have set up called site settings. And it's as simple as, page title, menu slug, some parent page. So you can have actually set up multiple options pages, and you can nest them, or you can nest options pages under other menus, menu levels within the sort of the native menu of WordPress. There's advanced configuration options where you can set icons and things like that. So that's how you set up a or you add an options page, and then for the fields that you want on that page is you in your field groups. So I have pencil banner field group where I've got a Boolean or a true false field type to sort of active or inactive. So I might want to sort of, like I said, toggle on or off whether or not that pencil banner is visible on the site. So that's all that is. And then I've got text field for text, and then another 2 more for button text and button link. And then under my location rules, I've set that to options page, and then it's set to the site settings options page. So with that sort of all set up and done, we can jump over to our site settings, options page, which you can now see over here in the admin menu, and you've got our fields right here. You can see that we've got it currently set to active. If we turn that off, update, and then if we, it disappears. So we'll leave that back on, and then we can edit the text of the button, edit the link to where it goes, and update that whenever we have a particular campaign running. Now, I actually implemented the templating side of this in another custom block, and then I dropped that custom block into the header pattern within the site editor. But that's a whole other thing. And the way you implement that, the templating part is probably more up to you and how you're running your particular WordPress theme. There's multiple ways of doing that, but anyway, that's the way that I did it. But we don't need to go into those details right now. So that is the options pages within ACF, perfect for handling those, like I said, those site level global sort of state data that needs to persist wherever the visitor is navigating throughout the site, and not be associated specifically with a particular page or post. All right, we covered a lot with advanced custom fields there, but I want to highlight a couple of other plugins that are really powerful that we have as well. And the first one is called WP Offload SCS. This is part of the Delicious Brains family of plugins, and you can see this URL here, deliciousbrains.com/WP Offload SCS, so you can go check that out. But what this does for you is it offloads the job of emails from your WordPress site, and particularly makes it really easy to use AWS's SES email platform, which is very cost effective and highly reliable emailing service. So you would obviously go and set up your AWS SES account, and this plugin makes it just incredibly beautifully, seamlessly easy to connect that SES account with your WordPress site. So sites where email sending from the site itself is critical. So think like e-commerce sites, community sites, in our case right now, this educational site where perhaps students are signing up for notifications about events or particular, starting dates of courses or whatever, where the site needs to be sending off automated emails. When email is critical, you want to take that job typically off WordPress's shoulders and place it on a dedicated, often, third-party system for sending that mail. And, SES is easily one of the industry leaders. And this WP Offload SCS just makes it beautifully simple to connect those two. It also brings in like some reporting functionality as well. So you can monitor the deliverability, I'm trying to say this word, deliverability rates, etc. Of the emails that are going out. The second plugin I want to highlight is, again, kind of like at that optimization level, is WP Offload Media. So if you've got a large site with lots of media, and especially if you've got, site visitors, from around the globe, what WP Offload Media does is it takes the media, often images, but also videos, and other media assets off your site, and it gives you the option to store them with a third-party sort of vendor, but then also integrate with CDNs as well. So it's an optimization layer for your site, which can really, really improve performance. We've built out our site, we spun it up, we've installed Frost, we used a whole bunch of advanced custom fields, features for custom post types and custom blocks and options pages, and then all the templating side of that. Our site's looking lovely, it's functioning, and now it's got to go live somewhere. So we need to deploy this thing. So I'm going to hand back over to Austin now, and he is going to show us a couple of good options around that, as well as one or two interesting and cool features around local as well. So Austin, thanks, mate. Take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. As you can see here, if I go to open site now, oh, there it was just there. So yeah, I've got the same site you just saw on Rob's computer, now on mine. I'm collabing on this, and we are ready to make this site live. So like we talked about, local is a great location where you can try new things in a safe place, ultimately break the site without any fear that you're doing any real damage. But eventually, the time always comes when the site that we've been caring for needs to be set free into the web and be the site that we've always believed that it could be. Local makes it super seamless to do this, so we're going to step through that. I'll switch back to local. Before I walk you through our connect process, I do want to give tips and tricks number one, so to speak. Let's save this site as what we would call a blueprint in local. Now, why would I do that? So we've put a lot of time, me and Rob put a lot of time and effort into building this, and maybe we've kind of found our niche in obscure animal wrestling colleges. If you couldn't tell by this point, Rob and I come from very different parts of the world. Here in Nebraska, where I'm from, maybe there's a raccoon wrestling college that we want to target as a client. I don't know. Anyways, saving this as a blueprint is going to make it very easy for me to have a known starting point next time I come back into local. So what I'll do is I'll right click on my site name here. I can also access it from this drop down here. And I will click Save as Blueprint. So I can give it a name. We'll just call it the Animal Wrestling College. Allows me to set any files I want to exclude it. I'll leave it at the default for now and click Save. And what you'll notice here is local's going to zip that up and export it for me and save it on my machine. So the next time that I go to create a site, this is a super simple process for me to create from a known good spot. So local has made that blueprint for me. And now you can see if I go back to creating a new site, as if I was doing this fresh for my raccoon wrestling college, I have this option to create from a blueprint. So if I click here and hit continue, you can see a blueprint that I just made. You can see the details all about it. So the theme, multi-site, whether it was PHP, what versions of PHP, MySQL it was, and hit continue. And the last thing I have to do is name it. And I'm starting from a known good spot every time. So that's great. Would recommend checking out blueprints. All right, Rob, yes, I am back to why you sent it over to me, taking our site live. So for users who are hosting with either WP Engine or Flywheel, Local has a direct deployment integration built in that we call Local Connect. Local Connect is meant to take all of the guesswork, the time, the errors you might run into, all of the mess out of the deployment process. So taking my site live is as simple as hitting push here in the bottom right corner of Local. I'm not logged in anything right now, but I will log into WP Engine. For the sake of the demo, just a quick username and password. And that's it. I've been connected to Local, and you can see Local just pops back up for me. So this is the Local Connect interface. If you've used Connect before, this interface is going to look a little bit different. As part of our latest release, we did update the Connect interface, so there's some new goodies here. We revamped the experience, made it faster and more reliable, even added some long requested features. So for example, I can now very quickly choose between all the accounts that I have access to. Previously, there's just a long list of sites, which if I had hundreds of sites, made that pretty cumbersome. And so we follow that account to site to environment paradigm, making it easier and safer to really ensure that you have full control and you know where you're pushing to. So I'll choose my Austin Wendt account here. Put it on my Austin Wendt site for now and use the production environment. I can choose what to include. So I can include all of my files. So here's all files. I can choose select files. What this is going to do is what we previously called Magic Sync, or still call Magic Sync, but allows me to do a full diff between what is on my machine and what's on WP Engine to give me an idea of what is going to be replaced if I were to push this. And then will allow me to pick and choose too. So if I didn't want to include my plugins folder, I could choose not to do that. And then I can also choose to include or to not include my database. If I uncheck the box here, don't unselect files, and I only select the database, the result is only the database is going to be included. So this is a new feature. Usually been asking quite a while, like I only want to push my database. Why can't I just do that? Obviously, this is a push. Pushing your database sometimes can be a little dangerous, but everything I'm showing here is bidirectional. So you can also pull from WP Engine. And pulling database only is a great way to sync down all of your production data, whether that's from WP Engine or Flywheel. So if I already had a site on WP Engine, I can choose to push to it from the interface here. A really cool new feature that is launching, you may have noticed, is this new site toggle over here, which is going to be the ability to create brand new sites on WP Engine without ever having to leave the local app. So I can toggle here to create a new site. And it's a lot of the same questions. So it's going to ask me, which account do I want to push this to? I want to push this to Steve Irwin. And what environment do I want it to be? I'll make this a development environment since we're still a little in progress, but it allows me to at least send it to my clients and to Rob. And that is the environment name, steveirwindev.wpenpower.com. And that's it. So I hit create and push. And I get this site created on WP Engine, and local is taking care of all the heavy lifting for me. So what used to be a pretty manual process, like to accomplish this, I had to go out to portal, create the site, let it complete. Then I could come back to local, and then I could push to it. Local takes all of the heavy lifting off of your plate and does it on your behalf. So this process can take a few minutes. Local's going to continue working in the background. I can continue to use the app. I can still work on any of my other sites. So I've got Larry's Excellent Eats here. Larry's our unofficial local mascot. Or just take a break. And local's going to update me with statuses along the way. So I can check back here. While this does its thing, I want to acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is some of you out there are probably saying, Austin, you said local works great with every host, not just WP Engine and Flywheel. And you're absolutely right. It does. So if you're hosting elsewhere, that's great too. Everything that you build with local is always yours, and you are free to take it wherever you need. Now, every host is different, so the exact process to then import this at your destination site is going to be a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. But that said, in that case, an easier option that we like to recommend is checking out another amazing WP Engine product, which is WP Migrate. WP Migrate is from our Delicious Brains family of plugins and is the industry standard for moving your sites around the web. It's a phenomenal product, a team that we get to work really close with here at WP Engine. A lot of great people on that team as well. So the plugin is super user-friendly and easy to use. I'll go back to my site so you can see what this looks like in WP Admin. So I've just configured it here. I come into my dashboard. I go to Tools, WP Migrate. I can play around with a bunch of stuff here. Go to Migrate my site, and I go to Push. And you see the action of pushing is as simple as like, I'll install this same plugin on my remote site, my other host. It will ask me for connection string. I copy and paste that into here, and WP Migrate does the rest. It's going to do all the heavy lifting for me. But with that said, back to our Croc Wrestling College. This is live and up and ready to go on WP Engine. So if we go back to Croc Wrestling College here, we can see that it has finished, which is great. There was a banner that popped up that I missed while I was somewhere else, but we are ready to see the site on the WP Engine platform. So if I switch back over to my wpengine.com, go to my sites page, I can see all the sites I have access to here. But you can see, scroll down to Steve Irwin. There's Steve Irwin Dev. Click to steveirwindev.wpenpower.com, and here's a hosted version of my site. I can send this URL to Rob. I can send it to our clients. Anyone who wants to check it out, here it is. So we also have, now that it's up on WP Engine, we are ready to kind of do some final tweaking. We have several options to improve the new site's performance, as well as a lot of exciting improvements coming to the WP Engine platform, which Rob is kind of our expert in. So Rob, I will kick it back over to you to keep the party going.
Fantastic. Austin, thanks, mate. Great. Look, our site is now deployed, hopefully on WP Engine. I like the idea of that. And if it is on WP Engine, we actually have some platform level features that I want to highlight today as well, which will further improve your site. But there's two that I particularly like that I want to highlight. And once I can find my mouse cursor, there it is. The first one is Smart Plugin Manager. Now, if you've had to manage a WordPress site before, you know how critical it is that plugin, theme, and core updates are sort of, kept on top of. And there's plenty of ways to sort of automate those and have them run. But the amazing thing about Smart Plugin Manager is something called visual regression testing. So basically what it does is it will take basically screenshots of a number of key pages, which you can select, a homepage, a post page, and whatever. And then it will run at the update of say an individual plugin. And then it will take a screenshot again of those key pages and then run before and after comparisons. If those pages are the same, they look good, there's been no visible changes, that update will, will stay, it'll persist. If there's a change, like because there's been some sort of conflict or something's broken, then that plugins or themes update is rolled back, and then Smart Plugin Manager sends you an email as the site owner and says, hey Rob, just we ran this plugin update and something changed, so we've rolled it back, but maybe jump in and check that out a bit more manually. So Smart Plugin Manager is fantastic. The second platform sort of feature that I want to bring your attention to, again as an add-on, is Smart Search. So if search is critical to the experience of your site visitors, you don't want to be relying on WordPress's native search experience. It has search, it's just not great. So you need to find an alternative solution. Smart Search from WP Engine just takes it from a 2 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. If your site has got lots and lots of content and your site visitors need to sort of use a search experience to get and navigate and explore and discover that content, you need to have something, and Smart Search is something you can sort of just turn on, and it's just amazing. So again, another sort of like post-deployment platform level feature that I really encourage you to check out if search is something that is critical and important to your site experience. The final thing that I want to, this is my one more thing thing. The final thing that I want to bring everyone's attention to is something that is not live yet. We're doing some internal testing, and it's something that we will start to make some announcements around in the coming months, open up to some customer beta testing. Is something called sandbox sites. Now, this is something really exciting for those with a WP Engine account. A sandbox site is a place where you can spin up and create a site on WP Engine that doesn't consume production level resources. So different account types or plan types on WP Engine have different sort of site limits, sometimes 1 site or 3 sites or 10 sites. But you might just want to be spinning up a site to sort of kick the tires and test some technology, interesting plugin or theme, you want to build something. Or you might be working with a client where you're creating a site and you need that site to get online for them to review in a proper sort of, production-esque experience, but you don't really want to be taking up production level resources from your plan. But that's what sandbox sites are. They enable you to get a site on WP Engine without needing to take up production level resources. Now, there's some differences about these sandbox sites, about what the features and sort of capabilities that they do have, but our aim for them is just to make it so much easier to go from, say your local development environment and step on to a online experience or online environment without having to step fully into production commitment. Really exciting stuff when we consider the connected experience between local and then the WP Engine platform. So look, anyway, there's a lot coming around this. It's really exciting. There'll be some news coming out about it, in the next, I can imagine, months. So keep an eye out for that. And when it arrives, of course, we'll be announcing some beta testing and stuff like that. If you want to be involved, jump on that as well. Look, that's it. We covered so much today. We kind of went, like I said, woe to post-production optimization of a complete site, and not just a site, but a somewhat complex and interesting site. We covered so many tools, plugins, themes, platform features. Look, I hope that even if you are the most dedicated or long-term WP Engine customer, that you learned something today that you can take away and adopt tomorrow to make your your WordPress sites even better. That is my hope. Austin, mate, thank you so much for being my co-presenter. I learned so much, preparing for this, and also seeing the way that you work and doing what you do. It was fantastic to have you do this with me. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. I hope you enjoy the rest of Decode. Catch those recordings of those other sessions that I mentioned if you haven't been able to see them live. Otherwise, take care, and we'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.